So it was interesting. All right, so let's
Just let me clarify that chief thing too. See, prior to the Western men coming here, the Western man coming here 600 years ago, we were kings.
Okay.
So a chief was a king, but they changed it from king to chief.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you got the adaptation of the word chief now.
Okay.
But we were kings.
Praise be to Allah.
So let's clarify that so the people don't get it construed.
All right.
So a chief is a king. He's
the
a ruler.
chief, he's a ruler.
That's
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
So you're in your 20s. Walk me. I'm going through the timeline so the audience can get an idea who Chief Red Deer is and the struggles.
Yeah. Then after finishing high school, I went into the conflict, the Vietnam conflict.
Right.
To serve in Vietnam.
Okay.
And from 1964 to 1968, I was in the United States Army.
Okay.
I was a veteran.
And you served time in Vietnam?
I served time in Vietnam, and I also served in Korea.
Could you, as a Vietnam veteran, tell me some of the firsthand about the Vietnam experience?
Well,
and what, you know, tell me your reason for going over there. What was the purpose of it? Did you join the service for education? Did you join there to serve your country, to defend against the Vietnamese? You know, I'm trying to get an idea of that.
As I stated earlier, it was poverty. See, we have to go back to the 1950s when the John L. Lewis,
right,
when they shut down the coal mines.
Right.
Well, then there was no jobs.
Right.
And it was one of the worst times in the history of this nation. Because remember, we're coming right after the Depression, and in the 1950s, after that Korean conflict, remember that the messenger taught us that after the war, the sensation of the war, there would be no jobs.
Right.
So when they closed down the coal mines in actually it was in the 1956, when all those mines started closing down, that's when the oil started coming into the country.
Right.
So there was no need for coal. Only, you know, so a lot of folks lost their jobs, and a lot of them migrated to different places like Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Washington, D.C., all your major cities looking for jobs.
Right.
And so the youth at that time went into the service.
Right.
That was a way of getting employment. Same way it is now, the same conditions now was then is the same condition now.
And tell me, I know what they say war is, but the Vietnamese, there were many of them that was murdered, many of them that was raped. There were many horrific stories that I've heard from family members who served in the service during that time. But can you tell the audience some of the atrocities that you witnessed?
It was horrific. And I have never seen destruction and death the way I saw it in Vietnam. And you know, it lets you know the power of the government and how the government will overturn a government, or how far they will go to destroy a government.
And why did they want the destruction of the Vietnamese?
Well, Vietnam has a lot of resources. Gold, rubber. I mean, that is part of the garden. And the resources there, there's unlimited resources there. I mean, I've seen rubber just falling off the trees. There's so much rubber there that they can't even use all of it. It's just going on the ground.
So they went over there, you believe it was always economics then?
It was economics. All wars are for resources.
I agree.
It's something there that benefits the empire.
Right.
So that's why they fight these wars. These wars are not fought for people's freedom, no.
But innocent children and babies was maimed and killed for that economic.
Oh yes, oh yes, yes, oh yeah, yes sir. Yes sir. I mean, there was some horrific crimes committed over there, and I was over there when Lieutenant Kelly, the one that in that My Lai massacre,
right,
when they wiped that village out.
Yes.
I was there when that happened, and that was one of the most atrocious crimes that ever been committed.
Wow. You know, There's so much I want to say, but I think I'm going to leave it alone because that'll take me down a road that we may not want to go down. But I'll just say this, that whenever I talk with war veterans, you know, and we learn of some of the horrific actions on account of America, it's despicable. It's despicable. And we walk around a lot of times as if we're civilized, you know. We want to be the governors of the whole world and tell the world what's right. When just it seemed like a few years ago, we didn't even have the right to vote.
That's right.
We
That's
had
right.
to go to toilets, you know, separated.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to now stand up and tell the world that if you don't change your policies toward women, if you don't change your policies, that you care so much for people all the way thousands of miles away when you haven't corrected your stuff at home.
Let me segue with just what you said, bring you back to that, Brother Lance. And when I first went in the Army, I went in the Army in 1963,
Yes, sir.
and it was Jim Crow. Martin Luther King had just got started.
You're right.
And we got on the bus. I took my basic training in, well, actually, yeah, my basic training in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and my infantry advanced training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. We had to ride separate buses. There were separate counters. So you can understand where I'm coming from.
Right.
So there were separate cameras that we had to go in to even get a sandwich, and we had to go to the side. There was a place in Virginia where the bus stopped, and the white veterans went inside, and we had to go through the back in some little cubbyhole to get a burger, and then we had to take that burger and get back on the bus and eat it.
While they were allowed to stay.
While they were allowed to stay inside. When Martin Luther King did that March on Washington, and President Lyndon Baines Johnson changed those laws, those civil rights laws, that's when the Army integrated.
Wow. You know, it's very important that the audience know these things because today you see the brothers and the sisters, they just love this white man, but you know, they don't know the history of him.
That's right. And that's
Yep.
a history, and it's so important for those of us who have this knowledge to make sure that our people never forget.
Never forget it.
Never forget it. See, and we can't allow this history to go uncensored.
No.
So we have to make sure that our children know.
They
and
are,
that we,
the Caucasian race is the #1 killers on the planet
that's
Earth.
right. That's right.
You know,
that's right.
they may wear fine suits and go to a restaurant and with a fork and a knife, they eat these animals and let the blood just dripping. They are murderers and they are killers.
That's right.
And that's their history.
That's right.
And you know, they say I'm late to the table sometimes, but I don't understand. America's so in love with this show Scandal.
Right.
You know, Olivia Pope. She's in love with, now they made her a whore on the show.
Right.
She whoring around with a bunch of
Right.
Caucasians.
Right.
And yet they want to tell us that this is such a beautiful show. Isn't this great?
Yeah.
You know, now they made a mama a whore.
Yeah.
I mean, you just,
It's sickening.
it's sickening.
Yeah.
And we have all of these, they say to be politically correct, you can't talk about homosexuals because they say, you know, that's not politically correct. But, you know, back in the days when we were coming up, they were called faggots. They
Yeah,
were called,
that's
you
right.
know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, now you say they join sissies
Yeah.
or they joined the other team or whatever
Right,
we want to say.
right, right.
But if you say any of that now, it's not politically
But
correct.
see, this is why, now I just want to share this with the public. This is not a war of cognitive weapons.
Go ahead.
See?
Go ahead.
See?
Say that
I'm
again.
coming-
Say that again.
This is not a war
Go ahead,
of
Dave.
cognitive weapons. Those of you who want to pick up arms and want to fight, you're going to lose.
The chief has spoken.
You're going to lose. I was in the military. I know the capabilities. I've seen the cognitive weapons of mass destruction. And I would never purport or advocate for my people as non-reservation Indians or reservation Indians to pick up arms to fight the United States government or to fight the Western man.
That's right.
The only weapon that we can use and to win in this war is a spiritual war.
Go ahead.
And that's what I am. That's where I come in at.
Go ahead.
We're fighting a spiritual war, and we're going to win.
All right. This is very good. I'm certainly enjoying this. Now, what is the name of your organization?
Cherokee Blackfeet Cultural Circle.
Say it slowly so the audience can write this down.
Cherokee Blackfeet Cultural Circle.
Go ahead. And there's a website?
Yes, sir.
What's the website?
The website is Cherokee Blackfeet Cultural Circle.
Say it slow again, because you know
Cherokee Blackfeet Cultural Circle.
there's a lot of stuff on there, but you know.
Yeah. Or you can go to CherokeeBlackfeet.org.
Go ahead. All right. And what are some of the objectives and what is the foundation?
Well, our mission statement, and I'd like to clarify that so the audience know exactly where we're coming from. We are millions of Indians.
Yes.
Remember now, Shepherd-in-Chief Messenger Elijah Muhammad said there were 17 million plus the 2 million Indians.
Go ahead.
And a lot of those 17 million have mixed
Yes.
with indigenous people. And a lot of them don't even know that they are Indians.
Right.
So my job as a spiritual, as a shaman, or as a chief, or ceremonial chief, my job is to make sure.
What is a shaman?
A shaman is a spiritual leader, like
Okay.
a imam or a
Okay.
minister.
Okay.
And my job is to make sure that our people have the spiritual knowledge
Right.
and that they are redeemed
Right.
or reformed
Right.
with the knowledge. Do
Now,
better, be better, and act better.
Do better, be better, and act better.
Knowledge,
Knowledge.
emotions,
Okay.
and intelligence.
Okay.
Those are three things. Knowledge of yourself.
Right.
That's what we do.
Right.
We teach them who they are, where they came from. We teach them the knowledge of God, and we teach them to reform them in a moral way where they can be better and they will act better.
Okay.
That's why we use the 3 B's.
Now, your organization is not strictly for Muslims, is it?
No, we're multicultural.
Multicultural.
Multicultural intertribal, because if you know, now we come from India.
Right.
So India is the bed of religion.
Okay.
All religions come out of India.
Okay.
Yeah, all the great religions come out of India. Buddha, he was born in Nepal, and Maulana Muhammad Ali, he comes out of India, whom we follow, the Ahmadiyyas, Quran, and there's a lot of other ones that we follow.
Okay. All right. This is very interesting.
Now I want to address the issue of Master Farad Muhammad and him coming from India.
Well, let's go at it.
That there's so much controversy swirling around that with Mr. Paul Guntry.
Okay.
Uh,
Paul Guntry is
Get on board the wheel.
Get on board the wheel,
Yes,
part
sir.
1 that was on YouTube.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, let me just say this, that I've been in correspondence with him a few times over the past several years as he's doing his research on the history of W.D. Farad, Master Farad Muhammad. Now go ahead. Let's go.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to say, which I do agree with Mr. Guntry, but I'm not going to say that Master Farad Muhammad was from India. I think he found the right mix. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Because,
Explain me.
okay, Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
Egypt,
Yes.
or the Nile,
Yes.
that region over there,
Right.
it couldn't be the garden. It couldn't have been the garden, and it couldn't have been the cradle of civilization.
Okay, so the cradle of the root, and we were taught that the root of civilization was at the holy city of Mecca, out of Mecca, right? You're saying that the cradle is not in Mecca, but it's
I think
out
the word is, you got Malka, and you got Mecca.
right.
See, any place where there is resources is holy.
Yes.
So the God,
Wait a minute. Any place that there's resources
yes, sir,
is holy.
is holy. Yeah, iron, oil, diamonds, gold, rubber.
Okay, you're losing me with it being holy. It's resources, but why would that?
If the cradle of civilization is holy, I mean, it's the first part of civilization. If you look at India, where it's situated at, go to the maps.
Okay.
India's in the center. It's a triangle.
Okay.
It's in the center before the great despotation or the great separation of the earth.
Okay.
India was the center of civilization.
All right.
It couldn't have been Saudi Arabia
All right.
because or Egypt,
Okay.
because they don't have the resources there. They just got the Nile, that dam. The Russians built that dam where they could use agriculture, and most of their food are imported.
All right. When did you accept the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
1968,
1968. In what city?
New York City,
In number 7 or Manhattan, or was it one of the other temples?
Brooklyn,
In
7C.
Brooklyn, 7C.
Yeah.
Minister Lewis was still there.
Louis 6X, yes,
Louis
sir.
6X was
Yes,
still
right.
there. And then you accepted the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He taught us that Master Farad Muhammad was born on February the 26th, 1877, in the holy city of Mecca. He didn't say he was born in India.
Right, exactly.
So you believe that this Paul Guthrie is correct when it comes to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad saying